Okay, let's look at an application for a piecewise function. So where would piecewise functions show up in the real world? This application problem says that Sprint offers a monthly cell phone plan for $35. It includes 300 anytime minutes plus 40 cents per minute for additional minutes. We're going to start by writing a piecewise function. So if you think about the cost of this plan, you're spending $35 if you use under 300 minutes. And then if you use over 300 minutes, that's when you have to start paying that extra 40 cents. And so that's our two separate pieces of the piecewise function. So I'm going to start with, of course, f of x equals, and let's start with the base plan. You have to pay $35. So f of x equals 35, just a flat rate. So there's no x value included, right? Y equals 35. If you use how many minutes? Well, if you use between 0 and 300. Now, you could be equal to 0, sure, because you might not use any minutes. You might use a phone for something else. So I'll say 0 is less than or equal to x, and then is less than or equal to 300. And so notice it says it includes 300 anytime minutes. So that means I can use up to 300. I can be equal to 300 and still only have to pay the $35. Now, as soon as I go over 300, that's where I have to start paying more money. What would be the function for if you went over 300 minutes? So let's think about it for a second. I would want to multiply 0.4, the 40 cents per minute, for every additional minute. So not all minutes, but only those additional past 300. So think about it. How could I find how many minutes I went over 300 if I talked for X amount of minutes? So in order to find the additional, what we will do is we'll take X, the number of minutes that we use, and subtract the 300 minutes that we got for free. And then I want to multiply those additional minutes by 0.4 because I need to add 40 cents for each additional minute. Okay, plus you still have to pay the $35 base fee. So plus 35. This equation is for all minutes over 300. So if X is greater than 300. All right, so now let's answer these follow-up questions. And the first one says, how much does it cost if you use 200 anytime minutes? So it's saying X is 200. Well, I need to look at the inequalities. Which inequality, if I plug in 200, would be true? Is 0 less than or equal to 200 less than or equal to 300? So basically saying, is 200 between 0 and 300? And yes, it is. If you were to check the other one, it would say 200 is greater than 300. And we know that that is not true. So therefore, I would plug X into this first line here. The equation is just Y equals 35. So I'm going to write F of 200. So when I plug in 200 for X, it is 35. So it only costs you $35. What if you use 301 anytime minutes? So now I'm looking for F of 301. 301 is greater than 300. So this is where I have to use the second equation. I'm going to plug in 301 for X. So I'm going to have 0.4 times 301 minus 300 plus 35. When I simplify, 301 minus 300 is just 1. So 0.4 times 1 plus 35. 0.4 times 1 is just 0.4. So 35 plus 0.4 is $35.40. Now for that one, you might have known that answer right away just by realizing you only went 1 minute over 300. But what if you were to use 420 minutes? That one's a little bit harder to just calculate off the top of your head. So this is where the piecewise function is especially useful. I'm looking for f of 420. Again, 420 is greater than 300, so you're going to have to plug it into the equation to find how much it will cost you. So I get 0.4 times 420 minus 300 plus 35. And I'm going to now simplify. So we'll do 420 minus 300. So we've got 0.4 times 120 plus 35. 0.4 times 120 is 48. 48 plus 35 is 83. So it would cost you $83 for 420 minutes of talking.